Imagine this. You head out, gonna have a smoke, stretch your legs, get a little night air. You hear some footsteps off in the dark. You take notice because that's the kind of person that you are. The footsteps approach, and now you see a form moving quickly in front of you. And a voice rings out, "Give me some money." "I don't have any," you say back. Now it turns into, "Give me your money." "Whoa, man, I don't want any trouble. I'm going home. Leave me alone." Story like this played out, and it ended in gunfire and the man that defended himself from that robbery just being sentenced to 4 years in prison. I want to unpack this and talk about what we can learn from it and how to not have a similar situation go down should you or I need to defend ourselves. Let's dig right in.
An early morning smoke for Charles Foehner leading to a deadly encounter outside his Kew Gardens apartment building. In exclusive surveillance video, you can see the 65-year-old backing up as he's aggressively approached by Cody Gonzalez. Moments later, off camera, police say Foehner pulls his revolver, shooting the 32-year-old multiple times, killing him.
So what the heck? You just heard that news outlet back in May of 2023 reporting on this. He defended himself. It was self-defense. Why is he going to jail? Well, he's not going to jail for self-defense. This was in Queens, New York. They did not charge him with murder or manslaughter or even aggravated assault.
Every case is complicated, but yes, this is a complicated case, and we're going to review the evidence.
NYPD sources confirmed the shooter was not licensed to carry that specific gun, but does have a permit for a shotgun and a clean record.
Yeah, and the incident happened on Wednesday. 65-year-old Charles Foehner will not be charged with homicide. What he will be charged with is 26 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. Now, while police say he does have permits to carry a firearm, the gun that he used in the shooting on Wednesday was not one of those guns that he has a permit for. Now, according to reports, when authorities searched his apartment, they found 30 guns, both long guns and handguns, in addition to ammunition and bulletproof vests.
So you may argue, that's nonsense. The guy owns some guns that he didn't have permits for. That's BS. That's against the Second Amendment. I challenge you to think about it this way. First of all, do me a favor as we unpack this for a few minutes. Set aside your emotions and your preconceived ideas and let's just lay the facts bare. We'll spread them out on the table and take a look and just examine them for what they are. He wasn't charged because of the self-defense. Well, that's cool. It means that he was righteous in it. It means that the police, the prosecutor, the judge, all those involved said, yeah, this is cut and dry. He had a real self-defense scenario, and the guy did what most of us would do in a situation. It was reasonable for people to believe that. When the police investigated what was going on, and they took a look at this gun, they found that it wasn't properly owned in the state of New York. Now, New York, like New Jersey, like Massachusetts, like Illinois, like California, and like other states, has what I like to describe as a superfluous licensing scheme. It is a way to control the populace, to make crazy amounts of money, and limit gun ownership. Is stopping lower income individuals from jumping through all the hoops. In our home state of Illinois, a man by the name of Otis McDonald fought and won against the city of Chicago in a case, McDonald v. Chicago. I knew the man, he was a great guy, because they did not allow him to own a firearm to defend himself in the city limits of Chicago, a pistol. So the cops go to this dude's house and they find 26 instances of illegally owned firearms. So Mr. Foehner did have the permit, the license in New York to own a long gun, certain long guns, but they found things like AK-47s, pistols, high-capacity magazines, and body armor in his house, which is a controlled item, I believe, after 2022 in New York. And make no mistake, the new mayor of New York, people in power there, are not going to let this guy go free. Oh, okay, he had a hard time, we'll just let this go. They're going to make an example out of him because they hate the Second Amendment. They hate people like you and me that support it. They hate firearms, and they hate that this right still exists. So they are going to make an example of him so that the people in New York know this is how you're treated here if you have these items here outside of our superfluous hoop jumping licensing scheme. Where do we go from here? How can you and I stop this? Well, you've got two arguments. Like I said earlier, in that situation, arguing about the law is like falling off of a ladder and on the way down arguing that gravity exists, right? It's the wrong time in the wrong place. It's too late at that point as well. So on one hand, you've got the choice to fight and try to change those laws. We did it here in Illinois. We're still working on it. I've been involved in the gun rights argument, lobby, education, the election of people to office to help fight those laws for well over a decade. You can do that too. You can move. And 3, you can follow the laws while living there. Not liking the speed limit doesn't mean when the cop pulls you over that you can argue it. Now, some of you are going to be like, this guy's a bootlicker. Cool, man. You can take that course of action, and then you can be going to jail for 4 years. Now, how could this have changed? If this dude had a lawfully concealed carried pistol, which I've got friends, students, buddies that live in the same area that have it, so I know it's possible. That's one option. Maybe a different means of self-defense, which some of you might say that's his right. Cool. You're back to this legal argument where you're falling off the ladder arguing about gravity. Do that. Cool, man. You can stick with that, and then you can also stick with the ramifications of said action. Now, as we age, 67 years old at the time of the incident, I do believe, we get sick, tired, we maybe have an injury, etc. Maybe you can't go hands-on. I practiced grappling for years. There are people of all ages that can beat the crap out of me. The other guy gets to say so too, right? That's why we have this higher level of force. Now, other people also get a say so in how the case is broken down. Let's take a look at that.
Neighbors are torn whether the shooter is a victim or vigilante.
I don't think that your go-to should be a form of violence that could be lethal.
Well, that seems a little ridiculous, doesn't it? What did she say? She said, your go-to shouldn't be a form of violence that could be lethal. Remember that as we are picked apart, as our actions are picked apart, not just a legal expert like a judge that could be super biased, not just a legal expert like a prosecutor or state's attorney that could be biased, not just a law enforcement professional that could be biased, but also a jury of your peers like this lady. I'm not suggesting she was on the jury, but that is the people that are going to be looking at you. Maybe they're super biased. Is that something you're willing to subject yourself to? And we can cling to this hope that it's my right, but I like the way that my good buddy Andrew Bronco looks at it. He says, you can do all the things. You can train. You can have the best gun. You can practice martial arts. You can prepare yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, ethically, all of those things. You can go get USCCA, CCWSAFE, something like that. You can do all of that stuff, and still the chance is never zero. We can never reduce the chance to zero that we'll get a negative outcome in a self-defense scenario. What's a negative outcome? How about dying, becoming injured, going to jail, having your name dragged through the paper and the mud, going broke, or just developing a high level of bills, losing your job, etc., 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 right? There's all of these things. The chance is never zero. And why is it never zero? Because all of these other people get a say-so, which should always be in our mind. Not that it will cause us to hesitate when true action is needed, but it will give us pause, understanding if I do something that is not completely required, I am opening myself to this greater than zero chance. I love the way Andrew says it. Go follow him, The Law of Self-Defense. By the way, he comes out to our S12 experience and presents every year for the last 5-6 years. Because we know it's never zero, I need to live in a manner that when somebody dissects the things that I've done, the things that I do, the way that I speak, the way that I interact with the world, the things that I have on my body, the things that I may have back in my safe, the things that I may have stored in my phone. And you may not like that I'm saying this, but this is real. I have many friends that are detectives that if you don't understand this, Google it, go talk to a friend of yours or a copper in town and ask them if I'm telling you the truth. They'll get a subpoena over to your phone company, and they will get everything that's in your Google account, that's in your Facebook account, that's in your Instagram account. They'll get all the messages, the little pictures. They'll get all the stuff if the judge deems it's necessary, and they get it. The stuff you deleted, the stuff that you sent to here or there, the pictures, the text, the etc. And if they paint a picture that you're a violent person seeking violence, seeking hurting people, seeking doing these things, man, it ain't a good thing. Now, this individual in question, Mr. Foehner, wasn't that guy, which is why he wasn't charged in that manner, but he was charged for something else. I think it's valuable for us to talk about this because oftentimes we get the sexy headline, man defends himself, goes to jail. No, he's not going to jail because of that. He's going to jail because of a technicality that he had a choice in. I was at a play this weekend with my mom and the ladies. It was a kind of a cool Christmas play. And in the play, one of the characters said something that rung true with me. And basically it was this: every man is responsible for how he affects the world. Every man is responsible. Everything you do. I'm not saying things done to you. I've been sitting at a red light and had a car smack into me that just ran the light and went sliding in the snow. Sometimes we have no say-so in that. But the things that we choose to do are our responsibility. So here's the takeaway. Be righteous in your self-defense. Seek to get away from any kind of violence that you possibly can, understanding that if you have to use force, it must be done righteously. Understanding that you still very well can be judged by somebody that could be completely biased, that hates who you are, that hates your way of life, that hates the things that you love, but you have to do it in a way that the law is on your side. If you don't, you pull these bricks out of the wall, making it weak, making your defense weak. We want to do the opposite. I want a solid defense, which is not me creating a life where I can inflict harm on others and get away with it. It's where I can live a life where I don't have to. But if I'm forced to, I've lived in a way and acted in a way that I've got this solid wall between me. I mentioned companies like USCCA, CCWSAFE. I've supported only one for 6-7 years, and that's CCWSAFE, 100% my pick. Some of you live in states where these things aren't available. I've done videos on this stuff before. Why do I choose them? They're the best. Well, why? Because they actually stand by their product. They actually are the only company that has represented a client in a murder trial, saw it through, got the person off. They've got the best legal minds. They've got guys like Andrew Branca on staff. They've got guys like Don West. That was the attorney for George Zimmerman. Look him up if you don't know. The owners were all coppers, homicide investigators from a major city, Oklahoma City. These guys were first responders to the Oklahoma City bombing. They're good dudes that understand the law. They understand violence. They understand customer service. They understand doing the right thing. I support them. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'll put a link in the description. If you're interested, you can shoot me a message, put it in the comments if you've got questions. Interestingly, people like to argue about this stuff. I don't hear dudes arguing about like who's the best car insurance or the best travel insurance or the best fire or theft insurance. But for some reason, guys will argue about this, and usually they are buying a false narrative from marketing. Go read the totality of what I'm telling you about this company. They're the best, hands down. Again, not allowed everywhere. So it's incumbent upon you. It's your job. It's your job to protect yourself and your family, right? Like Branca said, it's never zero. The choices I make affect my girls, my kid, my grandkids in the other room. The choices I make affect the people that work with us. The choices I make affect everything. You are responsible for how you affect the world around you. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. I appreciate you. I love talking with you guys. I hope to see you at training. CarryTrainer.com to check out our 2026 training calendar. We've got classes in Florida coming up February 2026. We'll be in Las Vegas. We'll be all over from Washington to Ohio and Tennessee and all points in between. If you want to host a class, reach out to training@CarryTrainer.com. If you want to check out things like our amazing coffee, which I suggest you do, we roast this in-house. It's not just some product that we package and sell. We source the beans, we roast them, delivered to you. Please check that out at Ignis Lux Coffee. Ignis Lux is Latin for firelight. We figure that it denotes and makes us think about that fire that is inside of us, the flames of liberty, as our founders talked about. On that, remember this idea of civic virtue. Civic virtue was this concept that the ancients created, this idea that the individual organisms of the whole, the cells, right, the structures that make up the whole body have to be healthy for the whole to exist. This idea of civic virtue is you and I going out into the community and doing our part so that the community is full of vital, healthy, law-abiding people that look out for each other and look out for the greater good. That is this idea of civic virtue that the founders talked about. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Hope to see you guys in 2026. We'll have more content coming at you. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things. And I'll catch you in the comment section. Peace.
How did you feel about the outcome of today's court appearance?
Well, we don't like it. I think that if this was a state and a city that had its affairs in order, Mr. Foehner would be getting a plaque, not a prison sentence. So it is it's bittersweet, but ultimately these were possessory-based offenses. They're generally the type of charges that are not difficult for prosecutors to prove from a strict element standpoint. In light of the fact that Mr. Foehner was charged with serious violent felonies, I think inappropriately, he had a decision to make. So
he's facing 15 years, correct?
Well, he's facing 15 years. I mean, one thing I will certainly applaud the Queen's Attorney's Office and Melinda Katz with is that they did not prosecute Mr. Foehner for any for murder or any homicide-related offenses, which could have been facing a life sentence. So ultimately, the sentence is a lot better than what it might otherwise be, and that's part of the reason we motivated the plea, why my client was motivated to take the plea. But the reality is that we don't think he should have been able to ever facing a criminal indictment to begin with.
Adventure doesn't wait. It demands fuel. Fresh and energizing. Crafted for the untamed. For those who chase the light, Ignis Lux is the fire that keeps you going. Ignis Lux Coffee. Fire in your cup. Light in your soul.